Ulu means the land's end, and Watu means rock. And Uluwatu absolutely lives up to its name. The magnificent Uluwatu temple is perched on a cliff, almost hanging above the waters below. Uluwatu is also home to a number of beautiful coves and white sand beaches. It's quieter than the other popular areas of Bali, but it is unique and beautiful. So how was the vegan food on the rock at the land's end? Let's find out. After a long flight, we ordered in from Circle Point Eatery. We had ordered from this spot in 2022 as well, and we had enjoyed the meal. The burger patty was excellent, and so was the cheese slice, but the sauce was too sweet. The chicken Caesar salad was very tasty. The pork belly buns were nice and unique, but a bit too bready. The cheese balls were the only dish we didn't enjoy at all. The filling was too starchy and not cheesy. Overall, the mock meats and the cheeses were fantastic, but the sauces were a bit too sweet. Next morning, we rented a bike and we were off to Alchemy for a run. The salad bar has plenty of toppings and some of them are so creative. We loved the corn fritters, the roasted cauliflower was really tasty, and the eggy tofu scramble cost a little extra, but it was worth it. We opted for a cream cheese dressing with dill and an Asian vinaigrette as well, because why not? We loved this nourishing and refreshing salad bowl, which was especially good on a hot day. We got a vanilla soft serve from the dessert bar with some candied almonds, cookie crumble and chocolate sauce. An excellent dessert. In the evening, we went to the gorgeous Padang beach for some coconut water and this delicious corn on the cob that was grilled with an aromatic sambal. Sambal is an Indonesian hot sauce with lemongrass which is very aromatic and is something that we've come to really love. For dinner, we were off to the Rolling Fork. In 2022, Uluwatu was our first destination in Bali and our first meal was a late night order from Rolling Fork. So this place is a little special. This time we got the vegan pizza. The sauce and bread were really good and they were generous with the toppings, but the cheese was very undersalted. Next day, we headed out to Chickpea for lunch. Chickpea is one of the only fully vegan spots in the Bukit Peninsula, so we had to come check them out. In 2022, we had got their tofu scramble burrito and it was nice. We were a bit under the weather and it felt very comforting at the time. This time, the dumplings were tasty and we enjoyed this simple dish on a hot day. The buffalo cauliflower tacos were tasty, but the cheese sauce and the sour cream were too coconutty and lacked any complexity or tang. And finally, we got the spring rolls, which were perfect. It was an extremely hot day. The kind of day when you just need to take a break and sit by a shaded tree. Most people visiting Bali absolutely love the sun, but it can be really harsh, especially between 11 AM and 4 PM, when it feels like you're being baked. This is why the locals always cover up from head to toe when they're on a bike. We were always confused about this until some friends who lived in Indonesia for a few years explained it to us. It's to protect from the harsh sun. For dinner, we were off to road trip. We started with a smoothie. The texture was incredible. It was more like an ice cream than a smoothie, but the pineapples hadn't been blended perfectly and some bites felt quite hairy. Next up was the burrito and it was excellent. Every element was so tasty. We really loved this one. The potatoes, the beans, the salad, so well seasoned and full of flavor. And finally, we got a lasagna with a corn salad. The lasagna was very tasty and the salad was excellent. For dessert, we got a cookie, which was so good. Next morning, we ordered in from Forage. The samosas were fresh and tasty and came with some sprouts and a sauce. The coffee smoothie was really well balanced too. Vidhi decided to take a nap, so I ordered some nasi goreng from Warung Local. In 2022, we had gone here a couple of times and this was our first taste of Indonesian food. The vibe is nice and it's a nice spot to catch up on some work. This time I got the nasi goreng and it was excellent. Simple, hot, delicious and reasonably priced. The tempeh satay was one of the best I've had. For dinner, we were joined by Neve. with his cousin from New Jersey. More on Neve later when things started to get quite dramatic. We headed to Muzz Kitchen, a vegetarian joint with a super nice vibe. The pumpkin gnocchi was tasty, but it lacked a sauce to tie it together. This was our first time trying it, so we might not be the best to judge. The grilled veggie tacos looked great and were very tasty. The nasi champur had a crispy tempeh topped with sambal. It was the first time Neve was trying both sambal and tempeh, and he really loved both. And finally, we got a traditional Indonesian curry. For dessert, we got a slice of banana bread which was served with a delicious sweetened coconut cream. We also got some chocolate ice cream which went well with the cake and the cream. Neve also got his first taste of a Bali thunderstorm, but it was a good thing that his older sister drove him home on her bike in between the showers. Before breakfast the next day, we went to Suluban Beach, a gorgeous cove, at the end of a steep walk down. This spot felt like a secret movie set. We were then back to Alchemy for brunch. Neve loves a salad bar and we went a bit crazy with the toppings. But it turned out to be quite a unique and massive salad that we all really enjoyed. We also got the quiche, but we didn't realize that it was the raw variant and not the cooked one. I thought it was quite nice, but Vidhi and Neve were not impressed. To round off this quirky meal, we got a pizza, which was good but not great. And for dessert, we got these delicious ice cream bars. But right in the middle of enjoying it, Vidhi had a dental issue that required urgent attention. So we booked a grab taxi immediately to the closest dentist. Back home in India, you have a family doctor for every part of your body. So this was something very new for us. We had to look up dentists based on their Google reviews. It felt surreal. This is how you pick a restaurant or a dish at a restaurant, not a doctor. But the reviews were really great. Luckily, we found a dentist not too far away, who was kind enough to grant us an immediate appointment. The doctor was super friendly and he said that he'd need about 30 minutes to fix the issue. In these moments, I was really glad that Neve was with us. He's much younger than me, but he's very mature and it really helped to have another set of hands and eyes. The kids got a good sense of humor too, so everything felt lighter because it was the three of us together. 30 minutes later, and Vidhi was as good as new. What drama! What seemed like it could derail the entire travel plan was resolved quickly and efficiently, and in such a friendly and comfortable way. This incident made me love Bali even more. Everyone is friendly and eager to help. The local people and their way of life is what makes Bali truly a magical place and not just a tourist destination. In the evening, we stepped out to visit the magnificent Uluwatu temple, which has one of the most epic locations of any temple I have ever seen. The Kechak dance, a fire dance reenactment of the Ramayana, usually takes place against the backdrop of the setting sun. But today, we got thunder and rain and lots of it. It was a real testament to the actors that they could go on, even with the unreal thunderstorm overhead. Hanuman is the star of the show in this interpretation. This spot felt beautiful in a completely different way. It felt awesome and sinister, almost like the kind of backdrop you'd use in a movie when war is approaching. We were soaked, and when we finally got back home, we ordered in from Lola's. Mexican food is similar enough to Indian food that it somehow feels like comfort food for us. Neve especially loved the empanadas, but I'm not sure they were vegan. The tacos were great, especially the spicy tempeh one. And I really loved the rice bowls. There were so many components and they really came together well. The food was really tasty and we enjoyed this massive, nourishing meal after a long, drama-filled day out. Next day, we were off to Ubud. But before that, we decided to get some brunch at Mana. We went there mainly for the view, and it absolutely delivers. Just check out how gorgeous this looks. This feels like the classic Bali color palette. The blue of the sky, the green of the plants. This place feels so alive. And if you think about the storm last night and this view the next morning, there's a great contrast of weather and the feeling that the weather inspires. It's something new for us and something that we really appreciate. The tofu scramble was nice. We were here in 2022 and Chella is a really beautiful spot. It features an all bamboo enclosure that is really stunning. Nourish is a good spot for a breakfast. They had some decent vegan options. Kelly's Warung has a stunning location on Bingin Beach. And since we were living in the hut next door, we enjoyed some really tasty meals here. And that wraps up our 5-day stay in Uluwatu. This was a really special trip because we were joined by Neve. The drama levels were so high ever since he arrived. From the dental procedure to the fire dance in a thunderstorm, it was action-packed and we hope you guys enjoyed it. Pure Hollywood from our brother from the US of A. In terms of the food, it's Bali, so you'll always find something. Uluwatu is nowhere near as good as Canggu or Ubud, but very few places in the world are. But we are sure you'll manage, and there are some really amazing places here as well. So, if you're planning a trip to Uluwatu, it's time to get really excited.